Oh, good, Mick, you're here. Now I can mute. I muted myself before and it said the meeting won't record with audio because I was muted.
Yeah, if you're the host.
Never saw that.
You were the
Oh, no.
hostess. You still
I
can?
can't hear. I'm going to relog.
I'm talking. Hello.
I'll be right back.
Okay. You better, Miss Renta?
Good evening.
Hi, Justin.
Good evening, Councilor Farmer, and glad to see you have found your voice, Miss Renta, and your ears, apparently.
I did.
Sometimes they don't all work. I just resent out a link to some folks. We just need a few more.
I did too. Kristen in. Got you, Kristen.
Okay, there's Kristen Dolan. Hi, Jody.
Hi. Delete.
Delayed response. We'll just give it another minute or two for folks to come.
Get a haircut.
No, just some product, you know. I was telling my students, when you have less, you have to keep it shorter.
You want to be Trumpian.
Right. Well, I could grow it all over here and just flop it over and just cover this entire area. You know, that would work ish.
Super cute.
Or you could just not cut it, you know? Be Samson. Just keep all your hair as long as possible.
I will say our town attorney, our council attorney, Mr. Mednick, does rock the waves pretty well, but I don't know if I can pull that off. Okay. There's the shoemaker. Okay. I think we'll just go ahead and get started here. Actually, first I'll get my notepad for taking notes. And I just have a couple announcements for kind of good of the order things and process. Councilor Farmer, you have a question or a point?
I was gonna ask some questions just for clarity, so maybe you should share first, and maybe I won't have to talk. So,
Okay.
yeah.
The first thing I just want to share, there are folks who really did want to be here for this final night of public input. And particularly Miss Wetmore was distressed that she was unable to be here and just wanted the public to know that she would definitely have been here save for, this was an unscheduled night. And we did have to reschedule just to make sure that we had enough time. I also think it's important to point out when the council values and understands the importance of public input. And this evening is not a charter mandate, but it seems, and I believe I can speak for the council here. It seems that the public should be able to give their thoughts on the mayor's proposed budget, but then also their thoughts on the budget after we have deliberated on it. And that is why we have this second round of input. Our charter requirement was fulfilled back, I forget, but it was fulfilled quite a while ago when we had that first round on the town side and the Board of Ed side. And even the separation is not truly necessary, but it does seem logical. So we will be having public hearing is probably not the appropriate name for what we're having tonight, more of a public input session. And what we will be doing, I will open for public input. And anyone who wishes to speak just needs to state their full name for the record, raise their hand, and please have your full name on Zoom. Then you will be allowed to speak. You have 3 minutes, and it is not back and forth. It's simply, are we receiving input? And then we'll go on to the next person. When everyone who wishes to speak has, we'll move on to the written public input we have received. That will be, I will scroll it through on the screen so people can see it. Ms. Renta will have you have the link, Ms. Renta, so people can see that if they wish to read on their own.
Well, I do, but if you're scrolling on the screen, they won't be able to see my link.
Oh, well, it's on Hamden.com, correct? It's
on Hamden.com and on the Legislative Council's homepage, and it can't be missed. I made the font big.
Very good. So that'll be that. And then after that, I'll open up, if anyone wishes to give verbal public input, we'll do that again. There will also be an option tomorrow morning at our special meeting. Speaking of tomorrow morning, I just sent a communication to council. The idea here, of course, was to have additional time to think about the budget after receiving public input. I should not have adjourned the meeting last night, but recessed it till tomorrow morning. However, we can still have caucuses, and of course, we can make changes in the special meeting. So I would encourage both parties to engage in caucuses at 9. 10:30, we'll open the special meeting. We can bring our ideas together. If there's any wish to make any changes to the proposed budget, we can do so at 10:30, and then kind of continue on from there. There will be I don't have the exact script in front of me, but there'll be a motion. We'll have public input. If anyone does not get a chance to give input tonight, there'll be another chance tomorrow. I believe the process is we'll have, I'll make a motion, we'll move it. Ms. Roe Lewis, as majority leader, will read through it, and any changes that need to be made, we will make. And I think I hit everything. And several other folks, of course, on council wish to be here as well, but are now traveling or have other commitments. And I believe that's everything. Councilor Farmer.
Thank you, Council President. I also want to take the opportunity to thank you for having the second public hearing or opportunity for people to speak. As you stated before, legally we have settled our requirement. So I appreciate that you went above and beyond to make sure there's other opportunities. We do not have a chat room this time. So tomorrow we will have another opportunity for people to speak, and that opportunity will start at
shortly after 10:30. I'm imagining, 10:40 by the time everyone gathers, and it takes a little time for us to get going. So I would imagine we could put somewhere around 10:40, 10:45, and being real. The show.
Sorry, I apologize.
No.
No, that makes sense. I guess the only thing I'd say is that if anyone can't, for any reason, because of technological difficulties, that they join us tomorrow and share public input. And if they're having difficulties, in the past, we've had the chat and they could reach out to people, but maybe thinking about between now and then, if that arises, to figure out how to help mitigate that before it happens. But I appreciate you allowing two opportunities for people, two bites at the apple, for people to share their opinions. So hopefully we will cover everybody and give everyone an opportunity to share their thoughts through you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. And with that, we'll open our meeting at 6:19. Ms. Renta, take the roll.
Councilman Alston. Councilwoman Baez.
Here.
Councilwoman Bonadies. Councilman Caesar. Councilwoman Klaus.
Here.
Councilwoman Dolan.
Here.
Councilman Farmer.
Present.
Councilwoman Horsley.
Here.
Councilwoman Gary. Councilman McDowell.
Here.
President McGarry.
Present.
Councilwoman Rowe Lewis.
Here.
Councilwoman Shoemaker.
Here.
Councilman Weber. And Councilwoman Wetmore. 9 present, 6 absent.
Thank you. Although it doesn't say on our agenda, I think we'll just go ahead and do our usual pledge allegiance moment of silence. If we could keep in mind our public safety community, as you know, they suffered a loss in New Haven, which has affected the entire public safety community, and another young firefighter was very serious in the hospital. Ms. Rowe Lewis, would you care to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, all nations under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
Thank you. So at this point, I'll open up the verbal public input session. I will, just folks, when you're approaching 30 seconds, I will try, or 30 seconds remaining, I will try to keep on top and offer this sign from my debate coach things. This means you have 30 seconds left. And I'll just give you a reminder at 3 minutes to please wrap up your thoughts. So if you would, anyone who would like to give public input to the council, please raise your hand. Anyone who'd like to offer public input to the council, please raise your hand. Ms. Garrett, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, council members. Thank you for the work that you have put into this budget. I know firsthand how much time it takes. So I really appreciate all of your work inside and outside of deliberations. It was just last year that this council was trying to cut every dollar possible, knowing that a steep tax increase was on the horizon, knowing that an unsure economic future lay ahead, knowing that many in our community were facing unemployment and uncertainty, and knowing that the previous budget would result in a negative fund balance. The ongoing work of the Fiscal Stability Committee is to develop strategies to contain the structural deficiencies within our budget. Many of the amendments and votes that have taken place do not seem to align with those core values. Friends and family members of council members have received arbitrary raises. There has been a hesitancy to cut every dollar, like what was accomplished last year. The commitment made to restore the fund balance, not even a year ago, must be confirmed in this budget. Your job is to safeguard the fiscal solvency of the town, and a healthy fund balance is a key component. This year's budget is complicated by a revaluation. A small change to the mill rate means little to the people whose valuations increased by $20,000 to $30,000. Many people will see an increase to their property taxes of $1,000, even if the mill rate goes unchanged. Please do not assume that you have the money to spend just because the grand list grew. The growth in the grand list is not from any new development or new additions to our town. It is from existing property. An increase to the property tax line in the tax portion of the budget means people will pay more. I do not believe that small businesses and the people in Southern Hamden, where the majority of the grand list growth occurred, can afford a steep increase in taxes. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I wish you all well.
Thank you, Ms. Garrett. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address the council? Is there anyone else from the public? Thank you. Mr. Levinson, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'd like to reiterate that I respect this council and the job that they have taken so seriously and put so much time into. I've watched many of the deliberations, not all of them, and frankly, in the end, I'm really disappointed in the outcome. This mayor gave you a terrible start. He put forth a budget that he could have cut by as much as $10 million based on the extra tax money that was due from the reval. But instead, he decided to spend that big increase on more for all his friends, on more spending across the board. Could have lowered the mill rate as much as 4 points to balance off the 8% increase in the grand list. Instead, he's didn't propose dropping it at all, and now you folks have taken it even higher. So all the departments got contractual raises, plus he came forward with 19 newer replacement jobs. And for the most part, you guys approved them all. A couple of entry-level police positions went away. Other than that, I didn't see anything. So you need to remember that the lifetime cost of an employee is millions of dollars, even for a clerk, like you were talking about last night. A policeman or a fireman is probably good for 6 to 8 million over their lifetime, including all the retirement costs. It's really, really the only way you're going to cut long-term costs is to have fewer employees. That's the only way. On the other hand, you should have demanded across-the-board spending reductions. There was probably some talk about that, but as far as I know, nothing happened. You even approved big growth items like the police tech account last night that you allowed to grow about $150,000, which was ridiculous. Yeah, so now they have insurance. They have extra money in case they get into trouble. The big deal is the mayor refinanced the debt again, and then had the nerve to underfund the debt service by $2.3 million. Generally, this mayor and his financial cohorts have led this town to failure, and we are there. We are at failure. When you folks voted for another $1.99 million to debt service, I could see the anguish in everybody's face.
Mr. Levinson, that's 3 minutes. If you could just wrap your thoughts up, please, sir.
Of course. Budget gave a lot to non-union people too. What they did with the police is a sin. The no layoff agreement in exchange for some concessions. We also never dealt with the ice rink or the golf course, which would drain on the town. This budget is atrocious, and the average taxpayer is going to pay roughly 12% more between the higher assessment and the mill rate increase. You should be ashamed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levinson. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address the council? Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address the council? Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address the council? Okay, I'm going to ask one more time, and then we'll go into time to read the public input. I'm imagining it would be, we'll say 45 minutes of reading time. The time will go as I scroll. So, but we'll say 45 from when we begin. There are, I lost count, 63, Ms. Renta? 63?
Well, there's 60. A couple of them are multiple pages. I think there's 60.
Oh. Some are long, some are brief, so it's kind of hard to gauge how long it'll take. After the written public input, we'll have, if there's any other attendee who would like to speak, we'll reopen that, and then we'll close up. So thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the council about the budget? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to suspend our public input. I'm going to share my screen with our public comment document. Is that visible?
It is.
You see your little arrow that has the side column that says export PDF? Click your arrow away so you have a full screen going on. Use a little bit to the
This
left.
one here?
No, not that one. A little bit to the left.
This
Yes.
one?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Ms.
Thank
Bias.
Today's
Oh, wait, should I do that too? Is that better?
I'm holding my
Oh.
tongue for a while.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, hold on. Okay, yeah, I can see. You guys were covering up some of it. Okay, then, folks, we're just gonna, read at your pace. They are available on hamden.com if you'd prefer not to read as I'm scrolling down.
I'm happy at work now. I don't have to wear a mask.
I reached the end. Do people need more time to read through our public input? A lot of them were short, which kind of made it go a little faster.
Were there any additional comments that didn't make it into that document, Kim?
There were not.
Thank you.
I believe Mr. Levinson's was the last one. So seeing that, I will reopen verbal public input if there's anyone who would like to address the council on the budget. Is there any other member of the public who would like to address the council on the proposed budget? Is there anyone else who would like to address the council on the proposed budget? Mr. Levinson, his second bite at the apple. Go ahead, sir, 3 minutes.
I just wanted to give a short postscript. I saw so many people in the comments that were saying they want a balanced budget. Well, all budgets are balanced. There's this thing called the mill rate that you apply at the end, and that makes it balanced. So they're not really understanding. The reason this is balanced is because you guys were willing to pass on the cost to the taxpayers. and you didn't take anything out on the employees. You just gave them it all. And this town is, I said this 10 years ago when I started watching, and it's gotten worse and worse. This town is owned by the employees, and right at the front of the employees is the police department, who are just taking they're having their way with this town. And I'm disappointed. You guys didn't do anything to reverse that situation or the situation with the other union jobs. So yeah, and you gave it away to all the non-union people too. So it's a sad situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levinson. Is there any other member of the public who would like to address the council on the proposed budget? Is there any other member of the council, I'm sorry, is there any other member of the public who would like to address the council on the proposed budget? Is there any other member of the public who would like to speak to the council on the proposed budget? One last time, is there any other member of the public who would like to address the council on the proposed budget? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close our public input, and I would like to thank all of our attendees, those who spoke and those who witnessed, and everyone who wrote for your thoughts. We recognize the importance of public input, and we appreciate people taking the time to express their ideas. I'd also like to say thank you to the council people who were able to get here this evening, even though it was not on the schedule. That is not to say that the folks who couldn't be here weren't also very much wanting to be here. And I would like to repeat that Ms. Wetmore sends her regrets, and I know Ms. Bonadies does as well. They wanted to be here, but had obligations, and Mr. Weber and Mr. Alston are well out of state and I believe in motion at the moment or working. Mr. Alston's probably working at this time. So, circumstances unavoidable. Otherwise, I know folks would be here. So thank you all. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Bleeker, seconded by Mr. Farmer. All in favor of adjournment, please indicate by saying or showing aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? So we are adjourned at 7:03. And again, we'll have a special meeting tomorrow at 10:30. And, I'm encouraging caucuses at 9. So thank you all.
Safe travels.
Have a good night.
Night, everyone.